I never got around to why regular stages should be used in tourneys, so why not do a commentary on a banned stage list? Just to clarify about hazards, from the way I see it, if you can't handle the chaos, then you are the worst Smash player to basically complain and whine about it. That was also the reason why I said spirits should be used in tournaments too. Spirits can bypass hazards as well. With that said, let's begin.
Big Battlefield. Okay, so Battlefield is all well and good, but what if you took Battlefield and just scaled it up a bit? That should be fine too, right? Well, no. For one, the stage is just too huge. The blast zones are way too big, making stocks last for too long. Now, blast zone size is also one of the determining factors in what makes a stage legal. Granted, it's not as important as the other three factors, but it is certainly a contributor. There's also just too much space around these platforms. You can certainly just camp the platforms against characters that have bad range or movement. Also, we have a normal Battlefield, which is just better.
Just add 2 more players in there and that should make this fitting. Skipping Final Destination.
Peach's Castle. This stage might not look so bad at first, and it is not really that bad, but it does have some aspects that make it less than suitable for competitive play. There are some walls here. Granted, they're not really that much in the way, but they're still there. There's also these triangles, which can make for some good jankiness, but the main problem are the ledges. When on the ledge, depending on the stage, you can either be in a very advantageous position, or a very disadvantageous one. Ledges generally create a lot of problems, and is something that we need to take into account. In this case, the wall makes the position on stage even stronger, and the one on the ledge has very limited options, even more so than they do on other stages, which is mostly why it is banned.
Gee, it's almost like it requires practice to master. No really, some of these stages can basically be mastered. Skipping this stage. It's the same as Peach's Castle and Big Battlefield. Skip.
Super Happy Tree! Yet another stage that is just too big. I guess this is a good time to elaborate on the topic of ledges. When talking about stages with ledges and slants, you really have to assess them on a case-by-case basis. Some stages are not nearly as bad as others, but generally speaking, ledges can cause a lot of problems, mainly if there are more or less than 2 of them. Their positioning is also important. If there are more or less than 2, it will most likely make one side of the stage better than the other. I guess in that sense this stage does fulfill that requirement, only having 2. And had it been just this middle section, it might even have been considered for the potential counter-break stage. Well, had it not been for the heavily slanted ground. But the big problem is the clouds on the sides, which make for excellent camping positions. These clouds for some reason don't have ledges, making them very difficult to get onto if there's another person guarding it. Yes, now I suddenly want more ledges, I just can't seem to make up my mind. Though it's not like this stage would be fine even with the ledges, seeing how this stage is still way too close to the blast zone.
It just depends on what fighter you use to reach them as well as spirits and items. If you plan on using items to get them to stop spawning, then that should even out. Spirits will require item-based ones to get to them. Skipping Wispy Woods and Saffron City.
Mushroomy Kingdom. Alright, finally I get to talk about walk-offs. Walk-offs are a big no-no when it comes to competitive Smash. For those who are unaware, walk-off is a term for stages where the ground reaches all the way into the side blast zones. They allow for some seriously cheesy kills. If these stages were to be legal, you'd see a ton of waiting on the sides for one player to make a mistake, and then the other player dies for it almost regardless of the percent. There are a lot of combos that might not kill, but are able to carry opponents to the edge of a stage. But when there is no edge, they just kind of die. It also in most cases entirely invalidates the recovery process, giving characters with bad recoveries a huge edge. There are also ceilings and walls here, so it's pretty obvious why this stage is banned. It's basically going to be the same story when it comes to any stage with walk-offs.
There are other stages like this. Just stay away from the edge unless you're not on the receiving end in which you can finish them off. Skipping Princess Peach's Castle, Rainbow Cruise, and Jungle Beat. I can't think of anything for the rapids. Skip.
Great Bay. Water is just not a great thing in general. I would personally classify water as an hazard, but I guess a lot of these stages would not really work without the water. The turtle on the right side here doesn't really help either. Lots of strange slants and ceilings. You can also kind of camp under the turtle, and there's also a way you can make it so you don't drown just by staying under there. Meaning you can stay under there for as long as you'd like, which can make it really hard for some characters to hit you. And you really don't want to fight in this tiny area, trust me.
It just requires jumping and an updated fix. So yeah, Nintendo's fault for one.
Temple! A classic for sure, but yeah, it probably does not come as a surprise when I tell you that this stage is too big. Like, way too big. It has almost every sign of a banned stage. Walls and ceilings, platforms with ledges that are hard to approach. Oh, and of course the section down here makes you live basically forever. But the biggest reason it's banned is because of circle camping. On this stage you can just pick a fast character, get the percent lead, and run away in a circle around the stage. And there is very little your opponent can do to stop you. It's not really fun for anyone, which is why stages like these are banned.
I don't think it was designed for actual tourneys, which is why regular Smash with matches and up to 8 players with no time limit is a better option. Yeah, it's not tourney worthy, but it can make an interesting kind of tourney that isn't a tourney. Skipping to Mushroomy Kingdom.
Mushroomy Kingdom. Okay, so you know how walk-offs are pretty much an instant ban? Well, how about walk-offs that move? Yeah, I'm not even sure if people enjoy playing on this stage casually. The stage also has a ton of solid walls and blocks, which is just lovely. The stage is a mess from a competitive standpoint, so let's just move on.
Just keep moving and you'll be fine. It's not like it's going crazy fast. Skipping to Aeroport Dive.
Port Town Aero Dive. I guess this stage didn't understand that hazards off meant that hazards had to actually go away. Because this stage is not changed at all. It still has the hazards that deal a lot of damage. A lot of the transformations are very strange, and some have walls. Look, this stage is not legal for a reason, let's just leave it at that.
Correction, there's only one hazard. That's it. Skipping to Mario Bros.
Mario Bros. Punctuation. This is certainly a wacky one. It's like it's made exclusively to be the least playable competitive stage ever. The stage has ceilings all over the place, and walk-offs on every side. Now, if that wasn't enough, these walk-offs are a little weird, in the sense that you can run through them and appear on the other side of the stage. However, if you get hit into them, you die. This makes the stage very easy to camp on, since you can just sit on one side of the stage and run in circles indefinitely. It's a super cheesy stage and, not legal.
I noticed the launch upward, just pointing it out. Moving on to part 2, starting with Magicant.
Magicant. The layout of this stage is not bad when you first look at it. It's got 2 platforms with slightly different height. The right one is a little too high for my liking, since it has no ledge and a lot of characters might struggle getting up there. It's also worth mentioning that the ground in this stage is not solid. And for some reason, if you get spiked while you're in the air, you go directly through the floor, which can lead to some, shall we say, interesting combos. To my knowledge, this is the only stage in the game that has this property, which is weird to say the least. I don't really know what the deal is. In any case, the real death blow to this stage is the platform under the stage. This platform might be one of the best camping spots in the entire game. Not only do you have free range to shark as much as you'd like, but getting down and trying to hit you can be very risky. The platform does have ledges, but most characters can cover every option because of how small the platform is. This stage might look innocent enough, but let's just say there is more than enough reason why you can't play on it.
This would make the Belmonts the best counter then, since they have more free range. That's basically it. He will go over the next stages, but it's not here. Final thoughts. While he did say why they were banned and why he banned them, he does want some stages to not to, but that's my problem. All the stages can be summed up in a short enough video. The right fighter, spirit, and item. Like, comment, share the video, subscribe, and click on the bell to get notified for more of my work. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Discord for Q&A, polls, and announcements.